This is Actar's Reviews, from anime to figures and beyond. Hey, this is Actar and welcome to another episode of Actar's Figure Reviews. 2 down and 2 to go. This is the third and penultimate Japanese Digimon Tamers figure review, as sadly the line only has 4 figures. But in any case, the subject of today's review is Digivolving Gargomon to Rapidmon. This time around, the Japanese version of the figure is a completely different mold, featuring a completely different transformation scheme from the US version that I think is vastly superior. In what way? Well, we'll be finding out soon enough, but first things first, let's take a look at the box. Design-wise, it's exactly the same as the other figures in the line, with the windowed display and a CG portrait of Rapidmon in the bottom right-hand corner. On the 2 sides, we have diagrams of the 2 modes, along with a list of its various stats and weapons. And on the back, we can see the transformation process from Gargomon to Rapidmon, along with a number of pictures showing off the special chromed die-cast parts of the figure. Lastly, we have a bio of both modes and an advertisement featuring the other figures that are available in the line. So let's open this up and take a look at the figure inside. While the figure is packaged in Rapidmon mode, we'll be starting the review off with the figure in Gargomon mode. And overall, I have to say that it is a far better representation of the character than the US version. Granted, it does have a couple of flaws that I shall be addressing, but let's check out the positives first. The main issue that I, and probably everyone had with the US version, was the ungodly amount of kibble on the figure, most noticeably on its back, with both of Rapidmon's arms hanging off it. Also, Gargomon's feet did have bits of Rapidmon's armor on it as well, and as you can see, this figure suffers from none of that. In fact, I commend this mode for being able to hide its alternate mode exceedingly well. And yeah, sure, you can see Rapidmon's armor when you turn the figure to the back, but that's pretty much all the kibble that you have, and even the feet are nice, big, and anime accurate. From the side, you can just see how well everything hides away and compacts down, giving Gargomon a very sleek and anime accurate profile. Speaking of anime accuracy, I really do like the proportions of the figure. Lastly, the build quality of the figure is superb. It not only has some real weight to it, but it feels extraordinarily solid in hand. All that being said, this mode does have its fair share of glaring issues. And first and foremost, details. And the most obvious miss? His ammo strap. I do believe that this is a blatant slip on the designer's part, because just having a painted or molded in belt around his front would not affect the transformation or the look of the Rapidmon mode in the slightest. Other inaccuracies would be Rapidmon's head poking out from the top and Gargomon's shoulders matching the color of his gun hands instead of being the regular skin color. But these can both be attributed to transformation, and it's really nothing too major. My next big gripe with this mode is the lack of articulation, especially in the arms. The arms literally can't move. They don't have any elbow joints, and the shoulders are restricted by this bar piece that plays a crucial part in the transformation. But at least you still can get Gargomon to point his Gatling gun hands forwards in his signature pose by using this joint that is meant for the transformation. Pull them away from the body and rotate them forwards, and there you go. It's pretty convincing if I do say so myself. Regarding the rest of the articulation, due to the stubbiness of Gargomon, you can't really expect any leg articulation aside from the feet, which are great. They are double ball jointed and have limitless movement. His ears are also able to move up and down, as you've doubtlessly already seen. And once again, it's time for Matrix Evolution. We open Gargomon's arms to reveal Rapidmon's arms, remove the arm and close the shell back up, and extend Rapidmon's arm. Do the same for the other side. Pull the arms away from the body. Pull open Gargomon's face to reveal Rapidmon's shoulder pads. Extend the body. Pull the shoulder pads out halfway and rotate them into position before folding them all the way up. Repack Gargomon's faceplate into the hole on Rapidmon's spine. Rotate the arms 180 degrees and collapse them back down onto this bar piece to secure them in place. Connect the two gun barrels together and push them up into place. For the legs, rotate Gargomon's feet around. Rotate his toes in to reveal Rapidmon's heel. Bend the front of the foot down and rotate it around to reveal Rapidmon's foot. Unpack the panels that form Gargomon's pant legs and pack them around Gargomon's feet to form Rapidmon's shins. Same goes for the other leg. Finally, we pull up Rapidmon's head, rotate it around, and collapse it back into his body. So, are the transformation in Rapidmon mode worth the sacrifices in Gargomon mode? Hell yes! I have to say that the transformation is pretty ingenious, what with Rapidmon's arms being hidden away in Gargomon's arms and the figure being able to gain a significant amount of height using Gargomon's feet. The end result is certainly exceedingly satisfying as you're left with one phenomenal Rapidmon. Just like the Gargomon mode, kibble is minimal, limited to only part of his face and pants. Metal content in this figure is present in the heads and the tips of his hands. Things about this mode that I like is that they do give Rapidmon his bizarrely thin waist. In fact, if you want to get the figure looking even more anime accurate, just unpack this panel and rotate it away. I know, this way Rapidmon does look rather anorexic, but hey, it's how he looks like in the anime. Aside from the waist, the proportions are much better and less stubbier than the US version. And speaking of the differences from the US version, I think that the head is far superior. It's far more menacing and less cartoony. And thinking about it, what was up with the face on the US version of Rapidmon? It was just plain creepy and inaccurate with the bunny nose and mouth, which is never seen in this mode. But of course, this mode still has its problems. The articulation still isn't great, even though the points of articulation has increased since the Gargomon mode. You now have head articulation, arm articulation, leg articulation, and ankle articulation. In my opinion, just some elbow or knee articulation would have made this mode far better than it already is. And finally, the ears are also positioned wrongly. By right, they are supposed to be protruding from his head as opposed to his body. And yes, the ears still do move a fair bit. In conclusion, Rapidmon is definitely one of my favorite Digimon from the Tamer season due to its rather sleek, streamlined and robotic design. I'm glad to say that I think that the Japanese Digivolving Gargomon to Rapidmon figure did a phenomenal job in capturing not only its Rapidmon mode, but the Gargomon mode as well in figure form. Now I won't lie, the figure does have its fair share of nagging issues like the inaccuracies in Gargomon mode and the lack of articulation. However, I personally believe that the transformation process is ingenious and complicated and allows for very accurate and impressive looking Gargomon and Rapidmon modes that more than make up for its flaws. So if you are a fan of Gargomon or Rapidmon, I highly recommend you track down the Japanese version of this figure instead of settling for the US version. While this figure is pretty old, he is still relatively easy to find on auction sites and goes for quite reasonable prices. So, this is Zyka saying, see you guys in the next episode.